Hello, my name is Spencer, and Last Train Home is an RTS set at the tail end of World War I during the Russian Civil War. This is a first impression video. I have about 5 hours in the game, so this is not an in-depth review. So I'm sorry to disappoint you if that's what you were looking for. You can look elsewhere if that's what you want. Let me briefly explain the story of this game. You command a legion of Czechoslovak soldiers who are trying to return home to Czechoslovakia from Russia during the Civil War, but you can't break through and take a path straight west. You have to take a train east all the way across Russia to the Pacific Ocean, get on a boat, and go home. The situation is very complex. I myself had a hard time grappling with why the Legion has to go so far out of their way to go home, but I digress. You recruit new people along the way, you could upgrade your train, and you're going through hostile territory, so there's going to be combat along the way. I like this game. Every soldier has traits that affect their combat effectiveness and dialogue options during missions. For example, if you send a bunch of anti-Red Army soldiers to speak with members of the Red Army on a mission, that may not go so well for you. When you are in combat and you pause the game and hover the mouse over one of your soldiers, you can see a circle outline that shows up around the soldier. That tells you the range of that soldier with the weapon that they have. What I would like to see is a range circle appear when you're moving soldiers around anywhere before you move them. So when the game is unpaused and it's playing, and I select a soldier and I go to hover over some kind of piece of cover, I would like that circle to appear there on that new piece of cover so that I can better assess, is an enemy going to be in range from me or not? That's not possible right now. I would like to see that updated to the game. You can take cover behind objects that are not buildings. Sandbags, barrels, crates, rocks, stuff around the environment can be used for cover. You can't send anyone inside buildings or take cover next to a building when you're outside of it. For example, if you're moving up the street on a map, you can't have people take cover on the corners of buildings, which I find very odd. I think there were a few other things like parked vehicles that you can't take cover behind. Strange decisions for the cover system, but nothing game-breaking. That I just would like to see a few more cover options for objects that I think you should be able to take cover behind. And with cover, there's soft and hard cover. So soft cover will be like wooden crates that will protect you for a little while, but they will break and you will end up getting, shot at and hurt much more easily. In hard cover, those objects won't break. Like if you take cover behind a boulder, that's not going to get shot to pieces and ruin that piece of cover. When you are giving soldiers orders, the icons above their heads are not selectable. You have to click on the soldier themselves on the character model. I was expecting the icons above their heads to be clickable, but they're not. That makes it, or can make it, a little bit more finicky to select the person that you want, especially if you have several soldiers lined up in cover next to each other. It can be a little more difficult to click on exactly who you want. You can also click on the portraits at the bottom of the screen, but you would need to know exactly where they are on the map, and it's just easier to click on a soldier on the map because I know exactly where they are. And there are a few different types of weapons in the game. There are pistols, rifles, a sniper rifle, and a machine gun. every weapon that I have seen has the same range. In my opinion, this makes the snipers less useful because they can't sit back away from the action and shoot. I have read that there are range upgrades later in the game. There is apparently some powerful ability for the sniper that can one-shot enemies later in the game. I am going by what I have seen in the first 5 hours or so. Giving the sniper rifle the same range as the pistol is weird, and I'm gonna call that out. Regardless of any balancing reasons there may be for that, I personally disagree with that design choice. Every soldier has abilities that they can use. Some of them are active, some of them are passive. The sniper can reveal areas of the map. Machine gunners can set up their gun in a fixed position and focus fire. There's a bayonet charge for riflemen, throwing grenades for grenadiers. I haven't used these too often. Most of the time, I send people around to flank or just put them in cover and let them duke it out with enemies that way. It's getting the job done so far, and this, I am by no means saying that these abilities are not useful, because they are. I just haven't really used them that much. In addition, during combat scenarios, you may find machine gun nests that are already on the map, light artillery pieces, or vehicles that you can use to give you an advantage. It's nice to have that, and it gives you more options to approach objectives. I used that on one of the maps where there were a couple of machine gun nests, and it really helped out with groups of soldiers that were coming down the road towards me. Let's talk about the train management aspect of the game. You start with the engine, 1 inventory car, and 3 cars for living quarters. All of these can be upgraded in multiple different ways, and you have opportunities to buy more cars for your train. You have, for resources, wood, metal, cloth, herbs, and gunpowder as your upgrade materials to improve the cars on the train. Money is just money. You use that to buy things. Then you have food, which you need to keep your soldiers alive, and fuel, coal, you need to keep the train moving. You can pick up resources during combat missions, but most of the time you will be stopping the train and going to various locations on the map to get resources. There are forests, abandoned settlements, lakes, and some other locations. Each of them have certain types of loot that you can find there, and there are merchants as well. Those are not combat missions, it's dialogue. You send a squad and they will look around for resources to collect and then come back. And you should pay attention to the traits of your people. One of mine is a good hunter, so I want them to be on the team that goes hunting when they go to a forest. That way I get extra food I would not have gotten if the hunter didn't go. There's also a trait for somebody that's like good with herbs. They're a herbalist. So if you send them to a location where you can pick herbs, they'll be able to get more of them than usual for you. There can be hiccups that happen as you're playing, not with the game performance, but with what's going on in the game. At one point, for example, there was a downed tree that blocked the railroad. I had the option to ram it with the train or clear it by hand. Had I rammed it, I would have found out the hard way that it was booby-trapped with a mine, and that would have catastrophically damaged my train, so you have to be aware that things can go wrong. I like the game. There are some design choices that I disagree with, but I think it's a solid game. I hope this video is helpful and it gives the game more attention that I think it deserves. It has about 1,000 reviews on Steam at the time of writing, so it's not some tiny unknown game, but I do want it to get more time in the sun.
Finding cover.
Last Train Home is $39.99 USD or your regional equivalent. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and thank you for watching.